What does the tap dancing mean, bro? What does the tap dancing mean? Like, what is that, bro? What is that?
Stop tap dancing around the conversation.
Well, I'll be damned. All right, we got a deep dive into Kendrick Lamar's Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by the man Tennis Tom. This is my favorite Kendrick Lamar project. Yeah, this is the favorite, bro. This is my favorite because of the, bro, it's just like encapsulates a lot of things that I just like agree upon and like, and I like, bro. I don't know. This was the first ever Kendrick Lamar project that I've listened to from start to finish. So this made me a fan. Let's check it out.
I hope you find some peace of mind.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers was an event. 5 years went by since Kendrick's last album, and everybody had their eyes fixed on what he would do next.
Tell them the truth.
Kendrick always released culture-defining records pointing out important issues of our modern world. And at first, it seemed like we were gonna get exactly that from Kendrick, presenting himself with a diamond crown of thorns, saying stuff like, "I am all of us," signed OK Lama, a word in the Bible often used when a prophet speaks on God's behalf. It seemed like Kendrick was a prophet that was gonna save the world with this music. People expected another look at our broken society, like T-Pap or Good Kid, Mad City, but what we got was much darker than that. An intimate and personal look at the mind of a man whose public image surpasses him. What?
Self-reflection and self-improvement scares a lot of people.
Hip-hop's savior is away from the spotlight. What happens when he goes back home to a normal family life? What happens when all of his ego accomplishments don't matter anymore? What happens when everything is stripped away and Kendrick Lamar looks directly at his reflection in the mirror?
Tell him you're...
I've been going through something.
United in Grief puts us in the middle of a situation of which we have no context yet. Based off the first words of this album, we can guess Kendrick does not feel well, hoping to find some peace of mind and paradise in his lifetime, and the recurring voice of his wife, Whitney, asking him to tell the truth, whatever that means.
1,855 days. I've been going through something.
Everything starts making more sense when the context comes into play. 1,855 being the exact amount of days between the release of Damn and this album. And we already guessed it, but he's going through something, even telling us to prepare for it, saying, "Be afraid." And then the Kendrick we've always known finally surfaces.
Game of Thrones. Bro, I'm not buying YouTube Premium. Stop asking.
What is a bitch in a miniskirt? A man in his feelings with bitter nerve.
Asking a bunch of questions and directly answering them himself as a means to point out something that's obvious to him.
What is a house with a better view? A family broken in variables. What is a rapper with jewelry? A way that I show my maturity.
Looking more at these bars, it's more like he's shitting on everything but one thing, himself. He's basically pointing out the flaws in everything and everybody except himself. So who is he even talking to?
He's talking to himself. Or the listener? I don't know. Shit.
Then it becomes clearer. He's in therapy, talking to a therapist in his office, which
I was so wrong. None of my answers was the
makes you question, why is he even here in the first place? We learned that Kendrick actually feels lost. And that checks out with those first lines of the album. He doesn't have peace of mind. He's been extremely focused on his career until now, but he feels like this entire world leads to nowhere. Kendrick was a bit reserved in the first verse, but this is the moment where he decides to open up to the psychologist in a very distinct way.
The new Mercedes with black G-Wagon away from. It was all for rap. I was 28 years young, 20 million in tax.
Bragging point by point to
Bro
the
had to pay $20 million in taxes. Jesus Christ, bro. Damn. That means he made like $90 million. My math might be completely wrong, but I don't know, bro.
therapist about specific things he bought or accomplished with his money.
It's probably not that much because at that tax bracket, you're getting taxed more. But, you know.
Just to prove a single point.
I grieve different.
Look at all the things I bought, the G-Wagon and the pools or whatever. That's how I go through my struggles.
I grieve different.
Damn.
There is something in Kendrick's past that he grieves over. But that's not the only way Kendrick grieves.
I met her on the third night of
Sex addiction and just buying materialistic things.
Chicago, North America tour, my eye closed. P545, she was a model.
He actually starts recounting a story where he met a model that was a fan of his music while on tour in Chicago.
Eyes like green penetrating the moonlight, hair done in a bun, energy in the room like.
And for a moment, he forgets everything else and starts to be invested in that girl's life. A life that's full of misfortune, actually.
Green eyes said her mother didn't care enough. Sympathized when her daddy in the chain gang. Her first brother got killed, he was 21.
Sympathizing and relating with her troubles because he's been through traumatizing stuff too in his youth.
I was 9 when they put Lamont in the grave. Heartbroken when I still didn't say goodbye.
But with that girl, with the green eyes, it's all okay tonight.
Green eyes said you be okay. First tour, sex to pain away. I grieve different.
For both of them, they grieve differently. Having sex to forget all about their troubles. It's just another way he grieves. But is that really a bad thing? Everybody around Kendrick does it. Baby Keem bought 4 cars in 4 months. Dave Freak got a Porsche, so Kendrick got one. Whatever you choose, it's just another way to deal with the pain.
But the money wiping the tears away. I grieve different.
In this first track, Kendrick is in therapy, and it's clear he doesn't want to face his troubles or talk about them. Therapy is not how he grieves. There's something he's hiding deep inside that makes him feel lost, but he hides his pain through acquiring materialistic things and saying proudly, that's just how I go through it. It's like he's trying to act tough in front of his therapist to prove, I don't need therapy. But the fact is, for whatever reason,
He's here.
He's here. So what is he gonna do? Just not talk? Who knows? Maybe there's nothing wrong with Kendrick, and what's actually wrong.
How do you know if you got a good therapist, though? Like, how do you even be a good therapist, though? Dang. I feel like that's a hard job.
Anything else?
I don't really like hearing people's problems because I'm a real empathetic person. And people pass their trump off to me. It's like, nah, I don't need that. I don't need that right now. Keep that over there, brother. Praying for you.
World, all the boys and girls. I got some true stories to
Throughout his whole discography, a lot of what Kendrick addresses in his writing are societal issues. What's wrong with our modern world of violence, corruption, racism, just to name a few. He's held to a very high standard in rap when it comes to that. So if he's in front of this psychologist and he doesn't want to talk about his personal issues since he grieves differently, he can still point out issues in everything else.
Take off the foo-foo. Take off the cloud chase. Take off the Wi-Fi.
N95 refers to the mask of the same name. We all remember COVID, I don't need to talk about that shit, but in the first verse, Kendrick urges people to take off their mask. Take it off and let me see who you truly are.
Take off the money phone. Take off the car loan. Take off the flex and the white loss.
But not in a positive way, like, let me see how beautiful you are.
Take off them fabricated dreams and the microwave memes. It's a real world outside. Take off your idols.
N95 does a really great job at illustrating the character of Kendrick in the beginning of this album. Kendrick comes off as extremely cold and aggressive in his delivery. He's telling you things like they are, and honestly, it's fitting in our perception of Kendrick. It's how you expect a rapper like him to be, this savior of hip-hop. He knows his words have power, and he's doing exactly what he would do on an album in front of the psychologist. Throw bars at people.
Take off the should know, take off the doje, take off the Birkin bag.
Basically, Kendrick is telling everyone to stop lying to themselves. Like, for example, stop wearing designer clothes to hide your lack of confidence. And honestly, that would be a good message if it wasn't for the chorus.
You ugly as fuck. You out of pocket.
Which illustrates really well Kendrick's state of mind. Be honest with yourself and feel bad about it. It's like he's trying to show the therapist, what you're doing, sir, this is bullshit. Literally, I'ma show you how it's really done.
The world in a panic, the women is stranded, the men on the run, the prophets abandoned, the law take advantage.
Kendrick paints a picture of a world about to break, mentioning problem after problem until we get the feeling it's just utter chaos. It's something we expect Kendrick to do, talk about the world's issues, but it's all done to draw our attention away from the real subject, him. It seems Kendrick feels pressure to tell the truth. This song could represent his defense mechanism. He's probably asked by the psychologist to open up about his issues, but Kendrick's deflecting it on something unrelated. You're asking about my problems? Well, what about the bitches that are faking being woke on Twitter? What about them? He's deflecting because he doesn't want to talk.
What the hell is that? I gotta relax when I feel.
But one thing that's really interesting is he does not mind at all
This is just another way that he grieves, deflecting, bro.
talking about his success and image he reflects. You realize the extent of Kendrick's ego when he starts contradicting himself. For example, that everyone should take off their designer clothes and jewelry because it's hiding their lack of confidence. But when Kendrick wears jewelry, that shows how mature he is. He's really deflecting all the problems on other people while praising himself. Even saying
Or it shows how immature he is.
he's so real that his descendants come in his sleep to tell him that.
All my descendants, they come in my sleep and say I am too real.
But apart from that, this song is also where we get a first glimpse of what the title of the record actually means.
Dancing in a drop. Hello to the big step, but never lose a count.
And it's not a lot, but it seems the big stepper is someone who's mindless about what's going on around them, as he's dancing in a drought.
Venting in the safe house.
He's a big stepper, dancing in a drought, careless about his issues, and venting in a safe house is basically what Kendrick is doing. Venting about every problem he can think of in this secure therapy office. Overall, this song is just a barrier Kendrick hides behind to avoid talking. There's this dark truth he holds, but it seems like we're getting nowhere. We need to find another way to understand what's really going on. So, what even is a big stepper?
What the heck? What the heck? What type of ad is that?
Kodak Black.
Okay, Llama.
Okay, Llama. Eckhart Tolle. And this is the Big Stepper.
Worldwide Steppers is, of course, a song that's tied to the Big Steppers. It starts with the voice of Kodak Black introducing two characters. And this goes on all while hearing tap dancing noises in the background. And right away you see some
Damn, bro, he
all
fucking
while
that
hearing
shit.
tap
Oh,
dancing
look at him.
noises in the background. And right away you see some links, like tap dancing
Comboing
steps
on it,
and
yes.
the Big Steppers. But the actual term is used many times in other rap songs. I should also mention it's a slang term, so definitions might differ from one one to another, but big stepper is usually used to describe someone who's confident, someone who hustles, that's not afraid to take up space and makes big moves. And all of that kind of makes sense with how Kendrick has been acting until now, this proud, egotistic figure who doesn't need therapy. He's the big stepper. And disc 1 of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is exactly that. We're on the big steppers side.
I'm a killer, he's a killer, she's a killer bitch.
If we're still assuming Kendrick is in therapy, the start of Worldwide Steppers is a really interesting one because it could act as an answer to one of the therapist's questions. Let's say the therapist asked, "Do you consider yourself a killer?" It would be quite a question to ask, but just to prove my point, Kendrick deflects by answering, "Yes, I'm a killer, but he's a killer, she's a killer, everybody else is," by making a point that introduces the most important concept of this album.
We some killers walking zombies trying to scratch that itch.
We're all killers. And even you, not in the sense we kill people, but in the sense that we all hurt people by trying to scratch that itch, trying to heal ourselves. Hurt people.
Germophobic hetero.
I am not for the faint of heart. My genetic build can build multi-universes.
Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers revolves around the theme of trauma and how it's passed on. And here, the idea that Kendrick tries to tell us is basically a person that has trauma is gonna try to heal that trauma by any means, but inevitably, it will cause trauma to another person by doing so. And Kendrick provides plenty of examples that we all do to prove this concept. For example, a person that has trauma that makes them feel insecure with themselves in general becomes jealous of others. That's their selfish way to heal that trauma, become pretentious and putting other people down. That jealousy makes other people not feel appreciated for their accomplishments, which causes them trauma. Like, really, think about it. When we have a problem that affects us, it's in our own selfish nature to fix it, but we don't always think about how the way we fix it can impact other people. That's...
Hey man, how are you hurt people hurt people? I've hurt some people in my past. We've all done it. But in the moment, I didn't think I was hurting that person or those people. But looking back, it's like, damn, I fucked up. I was just trying to do what I thought was best for me. So how do you get conscious enough to realize?
Kendrick's point, and it fits into his character still painting a poor picture of the world. But anyway, we learn a couple things on this song, with the first one coming very suddenly.
Ask Whitney about my lust addiction. Text messaging bitches got my thumbs hurt. Said president for a new sacrilege.
With Kendrick being completely open with the therapist about having cheated on his wife. Remember that girl from United in Grief? It wasn't just a random girl he fucked before getting married. He was cheating. And secondly, we learn what it means for Kendrick when he said to the therapist he felt lost.
Writer's block for 2 years, nothing moved me. Ask God to speak through me. That's what you hear now, the voice of yours truly.
In fact, that after the release of Damn, Kendrick can't write anymore. He doesn't think like he used to. He feels awkward around people. He doesn't know how to feel.
I don't know how to feel, like the first time I fucked a white bitch.
And the conversation gets slowly into another anecdote, this time being about the first time he had sex with a white girl.
The first time I fucked a white bitch, I was 16 at the Palisades, fumbling my grades.
Saying he was happy to be in the Palisades, out the hood and surrounded by wealthy kids and families, but also happy in another way.
She drove her daddy's Benz. I found out that he was a sheriff. That was a win-win because he had locked up Uncle Perry.
The girl that he fucked, her dad was a sheriff that had locked up a relative of Kendrick. So he was feeling like he had accomplished revenge.
And then he was getting his get back. Ah!
Over the sheriff. Like, there. I fucked your daughter, but it keeps going.
Next time I fucked a white
Uncle Perry ain't getting out of jail though.
bitch was out in Copenhagen. Good kid, Mad City tour.
Another white girl, but this time he cheated on his wife, which she learned about.
When he asked did I have a problem, I said I might be racist. Ancestors watching me fuck was like retaliation.
Isn't that a crazy answer? Kendrick is fucking around with white girls because he's trying to get revenge over the trauma that all his descendants have experienced. It's retaliation over the years of hate and torture they suffered. On N95, he says, all of my descendants, they come in my sleep and say I'm too real. Kendrick is trying to heal generational trauma, which takes us back to this first line.
I'm a killer, he's a killer, she's a killer, bitch. We some killers walking zombies trying to scratch that itch.
Kendrick feels guilt over the pain his descendants endured from white people. That's his trauma. He's trying to heal this trauma by fucking white girls. But that causes trauma to his wife, who's hurt by Kendrick's acts. By trying to heal our own trauma, we're just giving each other more trauma. So when the psychologist asked if he's a killer, Kendrick answers, we're all killers. We're all hurt. We're all making big moves, hustling to get rid of that thing that's bothering us inside. We're all big steppers, desperately trying to heal ourselves and hurting others in the process. Even if I heal myself, I'll just hurt someone else in the process. So why even try?
You're not looking for a shortcut to
Bro,
success.
this is one of my favorite songs.
You just want to know your time and effort will pay off in the
Not
long
the
run.
ad, but you know, Die Hard. Yeah.
Watching
I popped
everything
the pain
unfold
away, I
until
slapped
this
the
point,
pain
it's
away,
natural to be like,
pain
oh my
away,
god,
I slapped the
Kendrick
pain
is
away.
acting like an asshole. At least that's the perspective we see. Not only he's egotistic, mean, cold, refuses to talk, cheated on his wife multiple times, and provided no single sign of accountability or remorse for it.
I pop the pain away, I slide the pain away, I pop the pain away.
Kendrick has been dodging pain in any way he can, but this can't go on endlessly, and this song is where we finally see shame and deep remorse for his actions.
I hope I'm not too late to set my demons straight.
It's like the human side of Kendrick finally surfaces to show what he actually feels.
Do you love me? Do you trust me? Can I trust you? Don't judge me.
We learn there's a palpable fear in Kendrick's words. He's scared of the perception of his wife and other people if he told the truth about him. Just look at what he said in N95, for example. Take off everything, every lie, and show me the truth. And in Kendrick's eyes, it's ugly as fuck.
I'm a diehard, it gets ugly. Too passionate, it gets ugly.
He's a diehard, this proud image to keep up as a rapper. Kendrick is scared that this truth will tear down this image and no one will ever see him the same.
My truth too complicated to hide now. Can I open up? Is it safe or not? I'm afraid.
It's getting too complicated to keep this barrier up, so he wants to open up, but he's terrified. What if this truth is a crime he committed? What if it's something humiliating? This truth that Kendrick buried deep inside is so traumatizing to him. He doubts if he should even say it out loud.
I got some regrets,
Yeah.
but my past won't keep me from my best.
Kendrick slowly realizes that there's
My
only
past
one way
won't keep me
forward.
from my best.
If he doesn't make it up to Whitney, his wife, it's all gonna be for nothing. He loses everything he has.
Cause if I want it all without you involved, guess it's all for nothing.
It's like Kendrick finally says, I'll take this seriously. I'll try to open up for you. No more bullshit.
That
No-
nigga said my first one like my last one. This is a classic. You don't have one. Nah, this shit is a classic, and niggas need to realize that shit.
Actually start talking.
Oh my god.
The-
Father Time. I cried when I heard this for the first time.
Intro of Father Time clears up a lot of things.
You really need some therapy.
Real nigga need no therapy. Fuck you
The
talking.
first obvious one being that Kendrick is indeed forced or strongly pressured to do therapy by his wife Whitney, which explains part of why Kendrick was so reclined at the idea of opening up, and indeed why he said he grieved differently. My wife sent me here, I don't care, whatever.
Yeah, well, you need to talk to somebody. Reach out to Eckhart.
Eckhart Tolle is that character introduced in Worldwide Steppers, which is the name of Kendrick's psychologist. And with this realization on Die Hard that he can't go on without Whitney, he's now ready to open up to Eckhart. But before that, it's actually important to talk about who is Eckhart and why he is Kendrick's therapist. Now, you may know him because he's a pretty famous spiritual teacher and has written a few best-selling books. But if you don't know
Nigga's
him,
a real person? Like, Kendrick, you didn't change the nigga name?
Best way of introducing him in the context of this album is with the story he tells at the beginning of his 1997 book, The Power of Now. In 1977, Eckhart was a 29-year-old student, a pretty normal guy but with a lot of anxiety and depressive episodes, until one night he woke up in a state of absolute torture. His feelings of depression were unbearable, so much that he told himself, I can't live with myself any longer. Wait, if I can't live with myself any longer, then there must be two of me. The one I can't live with anymore, and me. After that, Eckhart describes he had an epiphany, an out-of-body experience where his mind was separated from his conscience. And that morning, when he woke up, he had never felt more at peace. It followed with 2 years of what he describes like ultimate peace of mind. For example, he says, and I quote, I spent almost 2 years sitting on park benches in a state of the most intense joy. That's what Kendrick wishes for. It's the first line of this album. In the book following that, Eckhart writes, lots of people would occasionally come up to me and say, I want what you have. Can you give it to me or show me how to get it? And I would say, you have it already. You just can't feel it because your mind is making too much noise.
Oh my gosh, bro, this is some crazy ass shit. Ha ha ha.
I come from a generation of home invasions, and I got daddy issues, that's on me.
Wait, is he actually doing it? This is the first like honest and vulnerable thing Kendrick says on this album. The relationship of Kendrick with his father and how it's affected Kendrick in many ways, that's new. The first verse tells us two memories Kendrick has about his father. The first one is when Kendrick was playing baseball as a kid and the ball flew right across his head and he didn't hit it.
See, daddy issues all across my head. Told me fuck a foul, I'm teary-eyed.
Instead of being like, it's okay buddy, try again, Kendrick's father is telling him, stop being weak and don't call a foul. Be better and hit it. And of course, what kid wouldn't feel bad after this?
When I throw my hands, I won't think out loud, a foolish pride. If I lose again, won't go in the house.
So much that he thought if he lost again, his father won't let him in the house, which drove him to stay more with his friends in fear of disappointing him.
Daddy issues made me learn losses. I don't take those well. Mama said that boy is exhausted. He said go
Kendrick's father would also not let him rest, because if he stopped working hard, he could regret it his whole life.
You could be a bitch or step out the margin. I got up quick.
We can take this as, oh, it's a mean father, right? But when you remember what Kendrick says in Worldwide Steppers, the fact that trauma is passed on to other people from others trying to heal their trauma by any means, let's put this theory in practice.
His father's passing on the trauma, but he's trying to heal his son's trauma by not passing on the trauma.
Look at other songs from Kendrick. It's obvious that Kendrick's father had a tough experience growing up himself, and perhaps made mistakes like not working hard enough at times, and that cost him a lot. So by trying to heal that regret, he makes sure that Kendrick doesn't make the same mistake, but he does it by inflicting trauma on Kendrick. It's really sad because it comes from a place of love for sure, but it's perceived as not being good enough. The chorus by Sampha is a continuation of Kendrick's non-stop work to keep his father proud. He's swallowing his feelings like a neat liquor, a shot of liquor poured straight from the bottle at room temperature. But completely in contrast to that chorus, he again puts the blame on himself and talks about the good that came out of it.
I got daddy issues, that's on me. Looking for I love you, really empathizing for my relief.
Saying that the lack of affection he got as a kid, like in the form of a simple I love you, made him emotionally tougher. For example, when he scraped his knee, he would immediately get up and not cry about it.
Cause if I cried about it, he surely tell me not to be weak.
Kendrick's father also taught him to trust nobody, which was technically good advice knowing now Kendrick is a famous rapper, and a lot of people would want to take advantage of him now, but it also had some other less positive impacts.
This made relationships seem cloudy, never attached to none.
Making it another additional reason for Kendrick's lust, his sex addiction, because he has a hard time attaching himself to one woman.
Daddy issues kept me competitive, that's a fact, nigga.
We're constantly oscillating between the traumatic experiences he had as a kid with his father and the good that came from it. If we're thinking rationally, it doesn't go together. It's like you're saying, I was chased down by an angry bear yesterday, but that was good because I did some cardio. The trauma from bad experiences does not go away because something good came out of it. You can still be affected by it, and it's certainly not your fault. Kendrick is still keeping his rapper image intact with 3 words. That's on me. He doesn't want to appear weak, the rapper with daddy issues, and he ends the song like it's a proud chant.
Grown men with daddy issues.
Daddy issues, let's get this shit. In my opinion, it kind of minimizes it. It seems like instead of accepting his trauma, he fakes being proud of it. Kendrick here treats these childhood traumas as learning experiences. This also
that's all it is at one point, you know what I'm saying? You can't, it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like, life is just like perception at the end of the day. Like, whatever you choose to look at the things and the perception of what it is and take out your own lessons, that's what it is, and your experiences. You know what I'm saying? Somebody can get punched in the face and they can see that as, you know what I'm saying, they're a bitch now. Or they can see that as an opportunity to beat a nigga ass. You know what I'm saying? So it's all perception at the end of the day.
Just goes to show another way that trauma is passed down from generation to generation. If Kendrick takes these experiences as learning experiences, what goes to say he wouldn't do the same thing to his children, and his children to his grandchildren? Is Kendrick really trying to heal himself here?
Game of Thrones King's Road is now available for...
In a way, he probably is, but not intentionally, because he's reflecting. Rich.
I learned in trapping in the business.
The 6th track on the first disc is a single verse from Kodak Black, accompanied with piano. If you remembered, he appeared on Worldwide Steppers to introduce the Big Steppers, along with some tap dancing, but that's pretty much it. On this song though, he tells a story, with a big emphasis on money, hence the title, Rich.
I ain't gonna lie, we were poor. A bunch of lost souls in survival mode.
Especially about being pressured into turning to crime in order to survive while growing up, saying there's no way for us unless we found our own. But came the day he made it into the rap game.
Who never knew that I'd become a fucking Kodak? You know, rap money good, but I'm still pumping gas through the hood.
Slowly, we start noticing why Kodak was on this album in the first place. Throughout these first few tracks, there's an emphasis on reflection and image, how you appear to be. And it's probable that Kodak is someone Kendrick can relate to or see himself into. They both were pressured into crime at a young age, made it to be famous, and both keep ties with the world and culture they grew up in. They both are big steppers. There's also an interesting theory I found that with Kodak's story and recent controversies surrounding Kodak, it wouldn't make sense to assume Kodak would benefit from therapy. Rich Spirit is also another double-edged sword. There is intention to heal, but Kendrick's ego still dominates.
Taking my baby to school, then I pray for it, 'cause you bitches ain't never been cool writing testament.
This verse transforms into a bragging carnival for Kendrick.
Painting pictures put me in the Louvre, that's a definite universal shift. I'm in the groove.
Put me in the Louvre at this point. I'm famous, but that doesn't mean I have more integrity than a normal person, you know? I'm making more than 2 M's per show, but they should add another 2. What do you think, Eckhart? You know, this is also a double meaning, 2 M's, but add another 2. That makes this sound, Now we may be hopeless for Kendrick at this point, because what the hell is he even doing?
Rich nigga, broke phone, trying to keep the balance, I'm staying strong.
This chorus has Kendrick re-establishing he is the greatest, and if you play with him, he's gonna use his influence and talent to hit back.
Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song. Stop playing with me before I turn you to a song.
Anyway, the video for Rich Spirit also supports the ego themes we've seen in the songs, with Kendrick dancing by himself in a room, trying to look cool while facing a wall.
Hey, bitch, I'm attractive. Can't fuck with you no more, I'm fasting.
It's a bit much, right? I think just that shot alone shows how Kendrick is engulfed in what he appears to be. Even when he's all alone, his happiness comes from what he looks like to millions of people as a rapper. He loves his reflection in the mirror. Remember, one of the problems Kendrick is trying to fix is his sex addiction and repair the relationship with his wife. That's why Whitney sent him to do therapy with Eckhart. And now he's just like saying he's willing to just spend
Nigga said, "Are you okay?" He said, "Never mind," and then just gives her 100K. Oh my gosh. What the fuck? No, Kendrick, I'm not okay. You cheated on me 1,000,000 times. I'm going through hell over here. Okay, whatever. Here's $100,000.
an enormous amount of money to make sure things are okay between them.
Why you always in the mirror more than the bitches?
Kendrick also attacks people who are spending a lot of time in the mirror when he is doing the exact same thing. He really does not know he's bragging, or at least he doesn't realize it. But the third verse really shows us best what's happening here.
I'm fasting 4 days out the week, brother. I pray to God that you realize the entourage is dead.
We learn Kendrick is fasting 4 days out the week here. Given the context where Kendrick experiences a universal shift, it's most likely for spiritual reasons, as fasting is said to cleanse the soul, make for a sharper mind, and on top of that, we get this
God.
False claiming, not cute, I'm mortified. The new earth and high pursuit, 200 lives.
Directly mentioning A New Earth, a book that Eckhart wrote about letting go of our ego-based state of consciousness to pursue a happier life. To him, ego is the source of many negative feelings we can experience daily. And to truly have peace of mind is to live a life without ego. So that's great, right? He's pursuing that new earth. He's reading a book about killing his ego, fasting, meditating. On the surface, he's trying to better his mental health. But why is he still acting like an asshole? He just told his own wife, I don't want to talk, just go fuck off with 100K or whatever. Well, this song is a pretty good spot to tell you what's really been going on from the beginning of this album. Why Kendrick is acting so odd. What if from the beginning, Kendrick was playing a character? This song shows us that Kendrick is pretending to be a badass famous rapper even when he's all alone facing a wall. But truthfully, he's been this rapper from the very start. Think about it, he refuses to open up, and when he does, he doesn't want to look weak. He takes the blame and turns it into a lesson. He doesn't give a fuck. He cheats on his wife multiple times and justifies it to her by saying he's honoring his ancestors. He's aggressive against everyone and brags about anything he can think of. He's living his whole life like it's a verse on a rap song. He's acting like a rapper. Kendrick said he grieved over his pain, this dark truth he hides, by buying expensive stuff and having sex with other women. But those are all just little things he does that are all connected to the true way he grieves, by acting like someone he's not, a person that's not affected by this pain. Think how convenient it is. You have something that eats away at you, makes you feel scared. But there's millions of fans that treat you like you're this perfect person, a savior of hip-hop who inspires them. At some point, you've become that person that doesn't exist, that's just this perception of other people, this reflection in the mirror. To escape the pain, there's no better way than this. And Whitney is watching all of this unfold again and again. She doesn't want the greatest rapper of all time. She wants her husband back. After all the hurt she's endured, she can't take it anymore. And it all comes to a breaking point.
Damn,
if you're a web designer,
get the fuck off my screen, nigga.
Damn.
No. Shit. Fuck out of here.
Like. This is what the world sounds like.
We Cry Together is, in my opinion, a direct response to Rich Spirit, and a hard kick back to reality. It's like his own wife takes him out of this ego trip he had on Rich Spirit and directly confronts him about it.
I swear I'm tired of these emotional ass, ungrateful ass bitches.
This song is structured like an argument between Kendrick and Whitney, and right away Kendrick points out that even though he's trying to do right by changing his ways, Whitney still brings him down.
You wanna bring a nigga down, even when I'm trying to do right.
But we all know that's not true.
Fuck you, nigga, you love a pity party, I won't show up.
Because Kendrick's ego is only grown with this newfound enlightenment he can now brag about. And Whitney knows that.
Always act like your shit don't stink, motherfucker, grow up. Forever late.
Some points we've heard before come back on this track, like Kendrick's more distant behavior with Whitney.
I know when you fake busy.
Man, bitch, you tripping, who got you that rolly chain?
In other words, she is mad and tired of Kendrick's ego always taking the better of him.
You know what? Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you, nigga.
Nah, fuck you, bitch.
Nah, fuck you, nigga.
This chorus is interestingly similar to a movie scene from Poetic Justice, the 1993 movie starring Janet Jackson and Tupac.
Fuck you. Fuck you. What's going on? They gon' fuck you up, motherfucker. Fuck you up.
Fuck you, bitch.
Fuck you.
Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
And given Kendrick's lifelong admiration for Tupac, it's no surprise that we find this here. Throughout the last tracks, a lot of the focus was on Kendrick's perception on what's happening to him. But we haven't really seen the repercussions of all that is happening on Whitney.
Bitches staring at me and Zara, hoes scratching my visor.
And it's more than just on the psychological level. When your partner is unfaithful, it hurts you so much, but on top of that, your car gets key scratched because that girl your husband fucked found out you existed.
What, that's my fault now? Bitch, you power tripping or guilt tripping, I held your ass down.
It's interesting when you compare this song to the first ones, for example, because they're all sharing one thing. There's no conversation. When Kendrick is in therapy, he's venting about all the problems that are wrong in the world. He's talking a bit about his issues and troubles, but he's instantly fixing them by himself in front of his therapist instead of having a conversation about it. And that's the same logic for this song. They're talking to each other, but there's no exchange. They're just yelling at each other.
Damn, that's every argument that's in America. Nobody is listening to one another, bro. Niggas just need to listen, bro, and not talk to be heard, but talk to understand. Listen and understand each other.
Can't apologize. Egotistic.
The truth is, Kendrick is narcissistic, hasn't apologized in any way since the start of this, and continuously lies about letting go of his ego.
Fake innocent, fake feminist. Stop pretending. What the fuck is you talking about? Never mind, bitch. I'm walking out.
But the more they keep avoiding conversation, the more they slowly start to lose the point they were arguing on. And again, you think they're about to leave with no progress made, but instead something else happens.
You got
Lay this pussy back on the couch.
doggy style, then you get on top.
Fuck me, nigga.
I'ma fuck you.
This is a change of pace, and it could mean a few things. It ties in with Kendrick's previous ways of dealing with pain by having sex, so this might be a red flag, but this time it's with his wife. It seems it comes more from a place of mutual love, setting aside this fight for each other. When you think about it, that moment is really sweet and something a lot of us can relate to. The victory of love over anger and lies. And then again, we hear that same noise.
What does the tap dancing mean, bro? What does the tap dancing mean? Like, what is that, bro? What is that?
Stop tap dancing around the conversation.
Well, I'll be damned. Damn. Okay.
Leading into Purple Hearts, the last track of the Big Steppers, we learned that Kendrick hasn't really been honest with us this whole time. He has been tap dancing around the conversation, dodging it by any means. There maybe was intention to do it, but every time he tried, his ego, his narcissistic nature as a rapper, this reflection he slowly became over the years, made it so songs like Father Time and Rich Spirit are just him tap dancing around the issue. And the first line of Purple Hearts confirms it, with him admitting to walking on his tippy toes around the real conversation. There's a bunch of different possible meanings for the title Purple Hearts. Following We Cry Together, it could allude to a bruised heart. The Purple Heart is also a military medal awarded to wounded soldiers. These two kind of go together, but this is also a reference to lean, because mud walking is literally a term that means when the lean hits you hard and you stumble.
Love it when the drugs talking. Shut the fuck up when you hear love talk.
All of the Big Steppers amount to this track where his message is love. In my opinion, it's kind of a response and a realization about everything. Kendrick said a lot in these past tracks, but shut the fuck up when love finally shows up. And this message is amplified when Kendrick says it's God speaking directly through him. Now, Kendrick might be getting closer to religion in order to heal, but it's evident that Kendrick is driven mainly by the love he has for his wife and his family on this song.
My life is like forbidden fruit. My bitch know better than I do.
Directly responding to this argument that they had on We Cry Together, Kendrick agreeing, "You really do know better than I do," and even saying he'd want to work on himself hand in hand with Whitney.
I'd rather fast with you than fuck it up. Fucking with skirts, cause I'm rational.
Making a double meaning here, with fasting with Whitney, what he was already doing on Rich Spirit, but also fasting in the sense that he's gonna restrain himself from cheating on Whitney ever again.
I'm not in the music business, I've been in the human business.
But the biggest step Kendrick takes here is stating he's gonna move away from his rapper side, this reflection, to focus more on his family.
A patient life, flaws bless them twice, and then bless you back.
The Big Steppers is a side of the record where we're deceived. We only see what we expect to see from a rapper like Kendrick. It's just his appearance. But like a mirror, this appearance can only be reflected by a real person.
Yo, telekinesis, I'm purifying these speeches.
This last gorgeous verse from Ghostface Killah is very religion oriented and sounds like a prayer.
Shut the fuck up when you hear his love talking to the mind is God's cipher.
In fact, it's like a motivational speech from a pastor. He's in front of God's door with everything, his traumas, his fears, but also his love and will.
So we need an intermission, my good deeds in front of your door. I'm standing by the entrance.
This is only the first half of this healing journey, of finding peace of mind and uncovering this truth. We've seen so much odd stuff in the first half, and it all seems to be related to this secret trauma Kendrick holds, that he is so afraid of and desperately trying to heal. Now you might be wondering why he didn't just say it out loud yet, but how could Kendrick be honest with us without being honest with himself in the first place? To hide this truth that was slowly tearing him apart, he unconsciously convinced himself he was someone else, a perfect person who's never known trauma or failure. But we've already seen how this way to heal only hurt more people than it saved.
Listen what the stars say. What I say is God's way.
He needed this first half, these sessions of therapy, to understand the barrier he built for all those years and break it, to finally explore one side of him he's left in the dark for many years. But it's certain he's now on the right path to tell this truth. And he doesn't know yet that in doing so, he might not only save himself, but his whole family.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. You go, girl. Alright. Damn, we got like an hour left still. Wait, damn, what that say? How you are seen by others becomes the mirror that tells you what you are like and who you are. How you are seen by others becomes the mirror that tells you what you are like and who you are. Yeah. But how people see you is your reflection of what you think about yourself mentally and how you showcase yourself. Every physical, all the physical is just a reflection of the mental. The conscious and the unconscious.
The second part of the album starts with the same motif we've heard in the beginning of The Big Steppers, with Kendrick being lost and not knowing which way to go.
Mr. Duckworth.
But for the first time, we hear Eckhart's voice, which might indicate a conversation is slowly starting.
Session 10. Breakthrough.
And it's supported by the fact
oh my
we
god,
hear
this is my shit right here.
His wife say that on his 10th session with Eckhart, there was a breakthrough. Since Count Me Out is also song 10, it also brings up the interesting point that each song is, in a way, a therapy session.
One of these lives, I'ma make these right with the wrongs I've done. That's when you unite with the Father, Son, till then.
And with Kendrick searching introspectively, it seems to all lead to what he represents, a famous rapper.
But a mask won't hide who you are inside. Look around, the reality's carved in lies. Wipe my ego, dodge my pride.
That's what he needs to fix, this image he represents. Or at least what this image...
Bro, I gotta listen to this shit.
Man. That becomes even clearer for Kendrick when he directly faces that reflection.
Look myself in the mirror,
I ain't seen that stereo.
With this realization on Purple Hearts, Kendrick is face to face with the
What does a Pitbull Terrier look like? What type of dog is that? Was that just a regular Pitbull? No, it's the ugly version. It's the little version. The little nigga version. The little nigga version. Bro, what is a... Bro, it's like 50 dogs that look like this. See, this is a pit bull. It don't look like the other one. The terrier version. I'm so confused, bro. Because these aren't the same dog. This is not the same dog, bro. Like, fuck out of here. Bruh, is this a pit bull? Niggas posted they dog on our pit bulls talking about, is this a pit bull? Nah, yo ass got scammed, buddy. That's a goddamn chihuahua.
Have you
bro.
noticed how
That's a damn chihuahua, my brother. That's not no pit bull gang. Yo, you just got up on, bro.
Stepper.
Nigga just
and
got
to him,
upped on your ass.
that is terrifying, because it's the last thing he wants to be for his family. Someone that cares more about his fans and music than his kids. He locked away every vulnerable emotion, every trauma he had in the part of him that doesn't have all that. But to truly heal, he needs to love and accept the part of him he abandoned many years ago.
If I didn't learn to love myself, forgive myself 100 times, dog.
And that starts with a hell of a statement.
I love when you count me out. I love when you count me out.
Something that you never expect Kendrick to say, and it seems it's directed at the rap game and his fans. He admits that he is mentally better when all of the stress and implications of being one of the most acclaimed artists in the world is all gone. This is the opposite of what this egotistic big stepper would say. Kendrick is saying, I love it when you don't talk, think about, or mention me at all. When you just leave me alone.
Fucking it up. How you gonna wear my shorts when the lights run deep?
But a crazy theory is that it seems Kendrick is also talking to his own reflection. I love it when you, the big stepper, count me out.
When you was at your lowest, tell me where the hoes was at.
Throwing punches at himself, telling him, what the hell were you thinking back then? By trying to desperately heal the trauma you had, you just created more trauma, not only for your wife, but for yourself. All this regret, you gotta deal with it now. When is this cycle gonna end?
Ain't nobody but the mirror looking for the fall off.
But the hope still persists, and it's there more than ever now. He doesn't even want to hear his name being pronounced.
My name is in your mouth. True. You said I feel better if I just worked hard without lifting my head.
The first line of the second verse seems to be directly meant for Kendrick's reflection, blaming him for trying to bury his trauma in his career. But if we're taking a step back, this could also be a reference to the things that his father taught him. Keep working hard no matter what. It was not all good. Trauma is trauma.
I made a decision, never give you my feelings, fuck what you from.
And it all comes back full circle to that breakthrough, the death of the ego to pursue a happier life.
I put it on my ego, Lord of all lords, sometimes I fall for.
But it's not like the happy life starts now. Kendrick tore down this barrier of ego he built for himself over the years, but now he has to deal with everything that's on the other side.
Miss regrets, I believe that you done me wrong. Miss regrets.
The regrets Kendrick has for all his actions.
Some things I can't forget, Lord knows I tried my best.
Because if I want it all without you involved, I guess it's all for nothing.
Bless anybody fighting through the stress, anybody fighting through the...
Game of Thrones King's Road is now available on both PC and mobile with Google Play Games.
Crown is a simpler song instrumentally but also lyrically, with a more calm delivery from Kendrick, something we haven't heard on this album yet.
You walk around like everything is in control.
With the first verse expanding on this fear Kendrick now has, that he might lose his wife for good, that it's too late. And it's all structured in a way that he tells us what love actually means to him.
Go out the way to make the coin available. That's what I call love.
To me, it seems like when someone is always available and willing to do anything for their lover without making them feel bad or looking stressed about it, even if it's about money, that's really loving them. You'd do anything for them. And the next 4 bars expand on that.
The closest one's afraid to say they need some time.
Giving us another example of what love means to him. To respect that your partner could need some time away from you. And even if it seems like life or death, if they leave you, you still understand.
That's what I call love.
That's exactly related to the biggest fear of Kendrick, losing Whitney. He loves her so much that he'd do anything for her and actually let her take the time she needs away from him, even if it meant they would never be together again.
For the time it'll go, and I'll be there when somebody needs you.
In past songs motivated by love, Kendrick stayed pretty surface level about the fact that he's driven by unconditional love forever. But with the slow death of his ego, it seems Kendrick asks himself, well, is it really unconditional?
You say no, and all you done gives them amnesia.
Life is life. We have experiences. We go through phases. We meet new people. And one day might come, you can't be there for someone anymore. And when that happens, it makes that person forget.
You can't please everybody. You can't please everybody.
All the love you've given them in the past. Amnesia. Love is...
You say no, niggas get amnesia. They do get amnesia as soon as you say no.
It's unpredictable.
One thing I've learned, love can change with the seasons, and I can't please everybody.
It's going much deeper now. It's like Kendrick is healing, but through a way that's surprising. The regrets he has, he's gonna live with them for the rest of his life. So he's trying to accept them. On Crown, he's accepting the fact that he might lose Whitney for good. It's not him trying to get her back by any ways possible, to scratch that itch. It's telling her he's okay with any outcome, whatever she chooses. That's real love. He can't please everybody.
They idolize and praise your name across the nation.
The second verse follows the same structure as the first verse, giving us an example of what love means to Kendrick, but this time it's directed at us, his fans.
Promise that you keep the music in rotation.
We've seen all this fame and especially the negative impact that it has on Kendrick's family, but at the end of the day, it's love, the love his fans have for his music, and the same rules apply.
But the time it'll go, and I'll be there when somebody needs you.
Kendrick will stop being a rapper one day, and when that happens, all that love is momentarily forgotten. It's met with disappointment. You think, what the fuck, I need more music. What about cancel culture? What if that happens? Could your love for Kendrick change?
Love can change with the seasons, and I can't please everybody.
Like all kinds of love, it's unpredictable. It can be gone sooner than you expect, and Kendrick also accepts that.
When you can't please everybody, no, I can't please everybody.
The love that people have for Kendrick, whether it's from his family or fans, it can go away at any day. So he accepts he can't have it all. He can't please everybody.
Heavy is the head that chose to wear the crown.
It seems the crown has a meaning that changes across the album.
Whom is given much is required now.
These two bars help us understand what this crown means. On The Big Steppers, it's about Kendrick's relationship with his fans. He's the savior of hip-hop, and for all the love that his fans have given to him, he's required to deliver now. On Mr. Morale, his family has given much to make up for Kendrick's past behavior, and he's required to make up for it now. And in both cases, with all this weight of the crown on him, he accepts he might not be able to deliver, to fix everything.
Please everybody, please everybody.
You can't help the world before you help yourself.
Hey.
Why, oh, why, oh,
On Silent Hill, Kendrick keeps pursuing that happier life by getting rid of all the bad influences around him.
Push these niggas off me like, push these bitches off me like, push these niggas off me like.
Other than the pretty unique chorus on this song, one other striking thing about it is the title. The first thing that could come to mind are the Silent Hill video games. I don't know if Kendrick Lamar's a gamer, but these are survival horror games.
What?
I don't know if Kendrick Lamar's a gamer.
Modern Warfare with Kendrick Lamar. Is this a real modern warfare with Kendrick Lamar? I gotta see this shit. 402
Last year, Long
Thunder.
Crime brought you the trial.
How old is this shit, man? If this was Minecraft, I would have believed it, because, you know, Baby King probably would have got Kendrick on that Minecraft, but I doubt that. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
2 years ago.
Sweaty nerds are up to here. Oh, crap.
Sold up, you're up.
Oh, my God. Jigsaw. Booty sliding Jigsaw at me already, man. Oh, my
The GOAT himself, Kendrick freaking Lamar, in my lobby. Amazing. Bro, where is this at? I think this might be the fakest you 2019 gameplay I've seen from you.
goodness. Booty sliding Jigsaw with his purple tracer pack. Oh, money well spent. Homie, money well spent, man. Oh, my God. 0. Yeah, that's how much pussy this dude's gotten. Oh, get body, you drop shotting nerd.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Oh, what the? Yo, how do these nerds get up in the window like that? My God.
Nigga, bro, he never talked.
Good stuff, bro. Good stuff, bro. Yo, I'm gonna beat Kendrick Lamar, bro. I'm gonna beat Kendrick Lamar. Yo, keep coming, bro. Keep going, bro. Keep coming, bro. Yeah.
Oh, bro's name is just Kendrick Lamar. Get the freak out of here, bro.
But these are survival horror games where you encounter all sorts of fucked up shit and creatures, and it weirdly fits in that context.
Pushing the snakes, I'm pushing the fakes, I'm pushing them all on me like.
Staying away from bad people like you're staying away from monsters in a horror game, and those bad people seem to be related to Kendrick's career in a way, whether it's critics or collaborators.
I be immune to shit. Tucking the broom and shit.
With his realization that he's better off when the status of the greatest rapper alive is off his shoulders, he can finally start getting rid of the people that previously were stress-inducing factors for him. He feels more unfazed by criticism, confident, and also he's getting more and more into meditation. And it's really interesting when you compare all of this to Rich Spirit, because there's a ton of contrasting links you can make weirdly. Rich Spirit had Kendrick angry and stressed out by critics, like anything they said Kendrick would treat it like it mattered. But this song is the opposite, with Kendrick now pushing away the people that stress him out, these critics. With this line also referencing the one in Count Me Out, where he's working himself to exhaustion. Now it's head up, chest out, and silence. No more listening to critics. A hill of silence. Silent Hill.
Hey, my daughter up. She need all the love. I need all the love.
There's also this odd line in the song which is so similar to the first one of Rich Spirit. This link is oddly specific and I can't explain it right now, so just keep that in mind going forward. So up until now, Kendrick is killing his ego, accepted he can try to get better, but he can't please everyone, and pushed away sources of stress in his life.
Stressed out, stressed out, stressed out.
But it feels like we're losing track of why he's here in the first place, right?
If you derive your sense of identity from being a victim.
Savior Interlude gives us the first concrete clues of the root of Kendrick's deep trauma, the truth lying underneath everything that Kendrick's been too afraid to say.
Let's say bad things were done to you when you were a child. And you develop a sense of self that is based on the bad things that happened to you.
You ever see your mama strung out while you study division? Your uncle ever stole from you day after Christmas?
Eckhart provides an oddly specific.
Yo, uncle stole from you at the day after Christmas? Nigga ain't even give me a week with my shit? The day after?
Take here that Kendrick developed a sense of self based on the bad things that happened to him as a child.
Stressed out.
Things happened. It led to Kendrick not being comfortable with himself. and forced him to act like someone else. There is something much darker in Kendrick's youth that we just don't know yet.
Seen both of those in the county jail visits, the first and the 15th, the only religion.
This track is structured like the interlude on The Big Steppers, the one with Kodak Black telling his story. But this time, it's Baby Keem telling his.
Noodles in the microwave, Shark Tank tidal wave, grandma shooting niggas blood on the highway.
Both stories are focused on the journey they had from youth to rapper, but right away Baby Keem's story is way more pessimistic. Baby Keem talks about one traumatic experience from his youth after another with no filter.
I got this shit bragging in 4 days, 4 hours, 2 hours, switch eyes, nigga be fresh out.
Baby Keem focuses a lot more on the things his family did when he was a kid, and it all ties back to Kendrick and that line from the beginning. The one Eckhart says, these are bad things that could happen to someone. As a child, Kendrick needs to be honest to understand what happened long ago when he was just a child.
Kendrick made you think about it, but he is not your savior.
Kendrick makes tremendous progress on Savior, expanding on what he was doing on Silent Hill. After pushing away his critics, it's time for him to directly address his fans and say, I am not your savior.
Mr. Morrell, give me high five. 2 times in a co-defendant judging my life.
This goes against everything he said in the first album. Stop idolizing people as if they were your savior, because they're just like you. Regular human beings with regular families and lives. That also brings sense to the prophet-like rollout and image Kendrick promoted before the release of this record. It's like he played a joke on all of us. As fans, we expect these words to make us question our life, but he's saying the opposite here. It's like sarcasm. I am all of us is not some deep prophet shit Jesus would say. It's literally saying I'm a person like you. Stop treating me like I saved the world. It's that kind of honesty that really shows the depth of Kendrick's ego. Here, it's really about Kendrick's truth on the relationship with him and his fans. For example, he points out how it's grown so out of control that people were trying to cancel Kendrick for not posting anything during Blackout Tuesday.
When niggas really said we canceling J. Cole and Kendrick for not tweeting about BLM.
And his fans. For example,
bro, that was some of the stupidest shit ever, bro. You really thought that putting a square... I need to become Martin Luther King, reincarnated, bro. Because this is like, the black community is just like, damn, bro. Damn, bro. Damn, bro. It's like, shit, bro. Shit, bro. And then we got like dumb niggas, like dumb other motherfuckers who's not even black that be trying to do shit. And they don't even realize the shit that they do don't even like. No. You're not doing anything, brother. That Instagram post with a black square is not helping anybody, bro.
He points out how it's grown so out of control that people were trying to cancel Kendrick for not posting anything during Blackout Tuesday after the Black Lives Matter protests.
Even blacked out screens and called it solidarity. Meditating in silence makes you want to tell on me.
But that silence was just about Kendrick working on himself and trying to heal by distancing himself from everything. His Silent Hill, but it's perceived as no support.
Bitch, are you happy for me? Millie, are you happy for me?
The chorus puts in question how we consider these celebrities. There are idols, but do we consider them also as people? And he asks, like, as a person, are we actually happy for him, or we're just happy as fans? Fans can be genuine assholes sometimes. Bro, why are you grabbing him like that? Some of them, when they see someone...
Why the fuck did she try to pinch his cheeks? That is a grown ass man. Nigga's almost 40 years old and you just pinched his fucking cheeks.
Genuine assholes sometimes. Bro, why are you grabbing him like that? Some of them, when they see someone famous, they just want to talk to them or get a photo, but it's all for themselves. They don't consider the other person in front of them. That celebrity is just a living trophy they're entitled to.
Bite their tongues and rap lyrics, scared to be crucified about a song, but they won't admit it politically.
The second verse of the song is pretty interesting because Kendrick questions the authenticity of cancel culture as a whole, saying basically that people who have a powerful voice in the culture are scared to get canceled now. So instead of speaking from their own values and individual beliefs, they're gonna tend to follow trends that everyone follows, and he connects it to that time people were trying to cancel him for not speaking up.
One protest for you, 365 for me.
By clarifying that his fight is constant by protesting and sending messages in his music.
Truth, it resides in the fire. Need.
It seems we're getting closer to it all, with Kendrick being more and more honest.
The cat is out the bag, I am not your savior.
And Kendrick has to think about himself.
Protecting my soul in the valley of silence.
Hey man, I haven't heard from you since you bought your gaming computer.
Tired of these brands getting free promo. Wait, is it even free promo? Hopefully this video gets monetized.
Hot plays and ways the mind can't figure out. Hot plays and ways the mind can't.
Auntie Diaries starts with this quote: "Sometimes what your heart."
Bro, I remember all these songs, but I don't remember some of like the intros and the outros and like the little like snippet parts, bro. Cause heart plays in ways the mind can't figure out. I don't remember that, but I remember Auntie Diaries. That's him talking about his family member transitioning.
He wants is not something that your mind can comprehend just yet, and this is most likely linked to gender dysphoria, basically when someone feels their gender identity is different than the one assigned at birth. And this is fitting because this song is about Kendrick's lifelong relationship with two of his family members who are transgender.
This is how we conceptualize.
Damn, that nigga got two transgender family members. I only got one gay cousin. We need to get our numbers up. Fuck.
Beings.
Bro. Did I just say that? Did I just say
This story starts with Kendrick as a young kid learning about the fact his aunt transitioned.
That's funny, bro.
My auntie is a man now. I think I'm old enough to understand now.
When saying, "I think I'm old enough to understand now," notice that there's still uncertainty, but we learn later in this first verse that as a second grader, he doesn't really understand yet. It first starts with his...
Damn, this nigga was like in second grade, fucking 19, goddamn 97, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I mean, I guess they had the what's Illuminati be calling up to TOS boys back in, you know what I'm saying, back then.
Relative being introduced with characteristics that are all manly, at least from Kendrick's eyes as a kid.
Blue Air Maxes, gold chains, and curl kits. 93 Nissan wax job, the earliest.
Even mentioning that relative has a girlfriend. And when Kendrick saw them together, that's what made him realize he wants a bad bitch when he gets big. I mean, who doesn't want that? But I said Kendrick doesn't fully understand as a kid, and that's because he's misusing pronouns.
My auntie is a man now. I watch him and his girl hold their hands down.
One bar, it's him.
Scratching the likes from Lotto, hoping that she pull up tomorrow.
And the other, it's she. He's constantly switching, but it's not done out of spite or anything, but just out of plain ignorance.
Ask my mama why my uncles don't like him that much, and at the parties why they always want to fight him that much.
Today, we know where this hate comes from, but as a kid, Kendrick's mother tells him this.
She said, ain't no telling. Niggas always been jealous because he had more women.
So with this answer, Kendrick still doesn't have knowledge of this hate, and this feeling of ignorance persists.
Back when it was comedic relief to say faggot. Faggot, 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 we ain't know no better.
Now, a lot of the people on release date were shocked that Kendrick would say the F word on a song, and today some people still doubt if it was really necessary. I won't make a song, and today...
So obviously didn't actually listen and understand the song if that's what you take away from it. Doesn't matter. Words were still used. This is the same man that got mad at a white girl for saying N-word to his songs. He can't pick and choose when it's okay to use slurs.
Hey, some people still doubt if it was really necessary. I won't make this video about whether or not I think the use of the word is justified, but from an analysis point of view and with the previous bars, it's clear it's not about using the word to attack anybody, but only to illustrate the ignorance of those kids, and especially Kendrick.
My auntie is a man now, what a relationship. I grew up fast, I needed no one to babysit.
Kendrick goes on to have one of the most defining relationships of his life with this person. It's the person that picked him up from school and bonded with him over music. It's the first person Kendrick has seen write a rap.
The first person I seen write a rap. That's when my life had changed.
And came the day one of Kendrick's cousins decided to come out so they can be who they truly are.
My favorite cousin said he's returning the favor. Demetrius is Marianne now.
But this time, the family was more in shock. They said they didn't see it coming. The kids kept on joking. And on top of that, Kendrick still kept using he, him pronouns.
Cousin, I knew exactly who he was, but I still loved him. Demetrius is Marianne now.
And dead naming. Calling a transgender person by their birth name when they have already changed their name. See how wrong this is? It's like introducing him.
That's not fucking wrong. He's telling a story. Demetrius is Marianne now, nigga. Nigga. That's how it is. They was Demetrius. Now, nigga, it's Marianne. Okay, if you go change your name from Demetrius, why the fuck would you pick Marianne? My nigga, like, there's a whole lot of better female names than fucking Marianne, my nigga. We got, like, Sue. Nah, I don't fuck with Sue. Sue is that's kind of old, too, just like Marianne. Fucking Kayla, Kylie, Kim. Nigga, pick a Kardashian name, nigga. Shit, you could pick a color like green, blue, red, pink, nigga. Nah, shit, Brittany, damn, Bree, sky, ground, water, aqua, sand, nigga. I don't know. Like, you could pick any name for a female name. You could use male names that still can be used as female names. Jordan, like, come on, bro.
Demetrius, he's called Marianne now. That doesn't make sense. And all these things might seem insignificant because Kendrick does show full support for Marianne's transition, but by not understanding fully and by still using the F word in jokes, misgendering them, dead naming them, this ignorance that Kendrick has carried on for years, it's perceived as non-acceptance, so much that it drives Marianne away from Kendrick.
We didn't talk for a while, he seemed more distant, wasn't comfortable around me, everything was offensive.
It's really sad when you think about it. It seems like it's another of Kendrick's regrets that he's never gonna get fixed. He can't please everybody, but fortunately, it isn't one of them.
Remember church Easter Sunday, I sat in the pew, you had stronger faith, more spiritual.
Years later, Kendrick and Marianne find themselves in church as they are both religious like their family. Kendrick even says Marianne is a more devout Christian than most. But that day, something happened.
Because the pastor didn't see him the same. He said my cousin was going through some things.
Just pure unjustified hate in front of everybody.
He promised the world we living in was an act on abomination, and Demetrius was to blame.
Marianne, being very devout, just didn't know what to do, because it was the words of the preacher. Marianne could have said something, but decided not to.
Until he singled you out to prove his point, saying, Demetrius is Marianne now.
But seeing Marianne being hurt like this in front of everybody made Kendrick actually stand up and directly confront the preacher.
I said, Mr. Preacher Man, should we love thy neighbor? The laws of the land of the heart was greater.
In the Bible, Matthew 22:39 says, love your neighbor as yourself. Kendrick says, why should that apply to every one of us except Marianne, when Marianne's been more devout than anybody else?
That's when you looked at me and smiled, said thank you. The day I chose humanity over religion.
See, a lot of people don't just realize, bro, like, that type of shit is, like, what derives people from religion and shit. You know what I'm saying? The hypocrites that's supposed to be the leaders in the examples in the church. But we all just human beings, you know? Just because a nigga got a title don't mean he's above anybody.
For the rest of the song, Kendrick stops dead-naming Marianne, stops using he, him.
The Bible say, let the first one who cast the stone be the one without sin. The first nigga to ridicule somebody should be the first person that can't be ridiculed.
Pronouns, and that whole story makes him realize he values more his family and morals than religion. And later on, Kendrick ends up having a conversation with Marianne.
See, I was taught words was nothing more than a sound if ever they was pronounced without any intentions.
About what Kendrick was taught in his youth, that saying words with no intentions as a joke was okay, and Marianne instantly disagrees. And Marianne then makes an interesting analogy on why it was and always will be wrong.
Every second you challenged the shit I was kicking, reminded me about a show I did out the city.
By bringing up that show Kendrick did when he brings a white girl on stage to sing Mad City with him, and she says the N-word multiple times.
That time I brought a fan on stage to rap, but disapproved a word that she couldn't say with me.
Marianne says, well, switch positions on that. Did that girl say it with bad intentions?
Faggot, 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 we can say it together, but only if you let a white girl say nigga.
We can hurt people and inflict them trauma while not.
Bro, that person that was tweeting that shit definitely didn't listen to the song. They definitely didn't listen to the song because he literally addressed it this shit. He literally addressed it this shit, bro. He still said a slur.
Being aware of it in the slightest, and on top of that, by thinking we're actually being respectful. To truly love someone is to accept them fully for who they are.
As a gymnast, vaping seemed like an easy way to manage the stress, but ultimately that wasn't a healthy.
And for who they become. Like, some people only love the version of that person that they meet. They don't like the person that person changed into. You gotta love that person too.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life.
Mr. Morale starts with a sample from a random video of a guy being angry that the Dallas Cowboys lost a game.
It was one of the worst performances I've seen in my life. I couldn't sleep last night because I felt this shit.
But that line is taken out of context to link to Kendrick's analogy at the end of Auntie Diaries, probably about the cringe of that whole event, honestly. Mr. Morale is a term that's important in this album, and we don't really know what it means yet. Obviously, with Kendrick mentioning it in previous songs, it's gotta be related to him. He is Mr. Morale, but what does that mean? I think we can figure it out with the opposite opposite of Mr. Morale, the Big Steppers. The two main differences between the two discs is Kendrick's ego, and if we link it to Eckhart Tolle's teaching that there is two of you basically, your ego-based mind and your deeper consciousness. If the Big Steppers is the ego, Mr. Morale represents a version of Kendrick that is purely him, and it seems he's reached or almost reached that peace of mind that comes with it. Each of the two verses on the track are like Kendrick is talking to his kids, the first one talking to his son Enoch specifically.
You should know that I'm slightly off fighting off demons that been outside. Better known as myself, I'm a demigod.
Which kind of goes full circle on that line from Die Hard. In fact, he wasn't too late to set his demon straight, and that's what he intends on doing for good.
Shit on my mind and it's heavy. Tear you in pieces cause it's way too heavy.
I feel like it's been so long. We've waited for Kendrick to heal, but he's been doing it slowly, piece by piece. Remember that quote from Eckhart, when people were asking how they can reach the point where they're happy just sitting on a bench in the park? Well, they already have that. It's just the mind is making too much noise. Kendrick needed the time, but that's what he did. He got rid of the noise step by step, getting closer to that half-remembered memory.
Your father's in deep meditation, my spirit's awakened, my brain is asleep.
Here Kendrick makes another reference to Eckhart's teachings, separating the spirit from the brain, the consciousness from the mind. With all the noise and regrets out of his head, he begins thinking, and it all comes back to something we've heard many times on the album: generational trauma, but specifically in Black families. We've heard about generational trauma before on this album, and it impacts primarily those from marginalized, impoverished, and systematically disadvantaged groups.
My mother abused young, like all other mothers back where we from. What you know about black trauma, heffing is kicking back, it's another genre.
What if it wasn't just ego that kept Kendrick from embracing therapy? There was fear, be afraid, and it somehow all ties back to the abuse his mother suffered. This song is also where we learn another pretty famous teaching from Eckhart, the pain body, which he summarizes like this: everybody carries a certain amount of emotional pain in their energy field, and it often originates in childhood. The residues gradually build up, and by the time a person reaches adulthood, he or she carries an emotional energy field inside that can be described as pain that you carry from the past. Then, periodically, the pain body awakens from its dormant state and needs them to experience additional pain in order to stay alive. It needs to feed on additional pain, so it actually creates emotional pain.
Say, hydrate, it's time to heal. Say.
So if that's the source of Kendrick's emotional pain, what triggered it?
People get taken over by this pain body.
When did this pain body awaken? Where did all this pain come from?
It needs to periodically feed on more unhappiness.
This song right here. This song right here. This song right here. Oh my God.
Mother I Sober is a song where Kendrick is at his most vulnerable.
I'm sensitive, I feel everything, I feel everybody.
But he's finally ready to talk about this truth, the story he needed to tell from the very start.
Heal myself, secrets that I hide, buried in these words, death threats, ego must.
Kendrick's about to tell a story that happened a long time ago, something that's haunted him ever since, and that he can't remember with precision.
Pacify broken pieces of me, it was all a blur.
One very important thing about these secrets he hides is that it's all blurry. It's like you're trying to remember your first memories when you were a kid. You get these flashes of imagery, but you can't really tell if it actually happened or not.
Mother cried, put their hands on her, it was family ties, I heard it all. should've grabbed a gun.
And that's because it took place when he was only 5 years old. We have only 2 lines describing this old memory, but Kendrick remembers her mother suffering abuse and hearing it all. He also says it was family ties, perhaps saying that the abuser was a relative to the family.
I still feel it weighing on my heart, my first tough decision in the shadows, clinging to my...
And Kendrick regrets deeply that he couldn't do anything. Looking back on it now, he would have killed that abuser to protect his mother.
My mother's mother followed me for years in her afterlife.
But his mother's trauma is like weight for Kendrick.
Life staring at me on back of some buses. I wake up at night.
Because he feels shame for not being able to intervene, but also by feeling all his ancestors watch as it unfolds. And that's the thing he grieved over for all this time. The fact of being a witness to a terrible thing and not being able to do anything about it.
Traded in my tears for a Range Rover transformation. You ain't felt grief till you felt it.
He'd do anything to avenge her mother's pain. And that shame is so heavy, he wishes he was just somebody else.
Anybody but myself.
This line makes everything that happened in the first leg of the album a bit clearer, with Kendrick desperately trying to be somebody else to escape this grief.
I remember looking in the mirror, knowing I was gifted.
The second verse gives us another collection of fragmented memories from Kendrick's past, likely not far off from the age of 5 as well. And suddenly, this happens.
Family ties, they accuse my cousin. Did he touch you, Kendrick?
This comes out of nowhere, and it's intended. Kendrick just remembers his mother asking him, "Did your cousin touch you inappropriately?"
Never lied, but no one believed me when I said he didn't.
But Kendrick says no. However, no one believes him for whatever reason. But he's a kid, he doesn't understand the context yet. But he feels how serious that question is, and that seems to slowly take a toll on him.
Moments still holding on it, hard to trust myself. I started rhyming, coping mechanisms to live.
That feeling is something that's gonna drive him to start writing, a coping mechanism to lift up himself. But like he said, some people tell him to not be so hard on himself. Time makes you forget things, and time passes for Kendrick.
Congratulations, made it to be famous. Still I feel uneasy.
But there's still that itch, that feeling that something is wrong. The only thing that makes him feel calm is nature and silence. But then it happens again.
Did he touch you? I said no again. Still they didn't believe me.
Another time. Why does this keep coming back? Kendrick said no, but no one believes him. And all he has is those broken memories in his head. Remember what I said about when you're 5 years old and you don't remember much? The only thing Kendrick remembers is that same question being asked repeatedly. So there's a terrifying thought that takes root in Kendrick's mind at that moment. If no one believes me and I can't remember it, did I suffer abuse as a kid and I just forgot it? I can't stress how terrifying that thought is. Could you imagine what it would feel like if you put yourself in Kendrick's place? It's so terrifying to think about. Even though he's sure nothing happened, it's that doubt that's caused just from a question, and that doubt explains everything that follows.
It's a lustful nature that I failed to mention, insecurities that I project sleeping with other women.
Kendrick previously told us that the reason for why he was sleeping with other women was retaliation against the horrors that previous generations of his family endured. But we learn here it's actually the insecurities Kendrick developed that made him addicted to sex, like he says. I found this in a random comment and I thought it was so interesting. I found this.
So initially when I listened to the song, I thought this was the case. However, after listening to it more and more, I think I found the constant questioning by his mom that actually caused the trauma. Since Kendrick was only 5 at the time, he can't be too certain that inappropriate touch did not occur. Therefore, he is left to questioning himself throughout his adolescence and grows into be misogynistic. So he looks to reclaim his manhood by having sex as much as he can. It's a theory, but would like to hear anybody else's thoughts on the song.
In a random comment, and I thought it was so interesting. Since Kendrick was only 5 at the time, he can't be too certain that the inappropriate touching did not occur. Therefore, he is left to question himself throughout his adolescence and grows to be misogynistic. So he looks to reclaim his manhood by having as much sex as he possibly can. But it goes even deeper than just sex. These insecurities needed to be coped with. That's why Kendrick built a barrier, a perfect reflection. The rapper that we know, who's gonna save everybody with his music.
Whitney's hurt, the pure soul I know. I found her in the kitchen.
His actions with other women had hurt her deeply.
Broke me down, she looked me in my eyes. Is there an addiction? I said no, but this time I lied.
He lied because he didn't think it could be fixed. It's not something you can just undo at some point. And when Kendrick's trauma is so complex and is sparked by a single question, how can you undo it?
Even in her pain, know she cared for me, gave me a number, said she recommended something.
That's why he came here in the first place. But now that everything's clearer, he tries to see why did all of this happen and why no one believed him when he said no.
I asked my mama why she didn't believe me when I told her no. I never knew she was violent.
And we learned that on top of the abuse she suffered when Kendrick was a kid, she was also violated another time. And that, of course, as a good mother, she would never let anyone do this to her son.
Told me that she feared it happened to me for my protection. Though it never happened, she wouldn't agree.
Though it never happened, she just wanted to protect Kendrick from ever experiencing that. So she tried to make sure, asked him repeatedly, are you sure your cousin didn't touch you? But no matter how many times Kendrick said no, it wouldn't be enough.
Now I'm affected. 20 years later, trauma has resurfaced, amplified as I write.
And Kendrick even says himself that nothing's wrong. Nothing happened. But those questions, over time, made this abuse that never happened real.
Questioning myself long for many years. Nothing's wrong, just results on how them questions made.
I can't think of a sadder story. When you think from where it stemmed, this is the destructive power of generational trauma and how all these people never did something out of hate or vileness. It's the vileness one person suffered that trickled down to everybody. A question that you ask to make you feel more secure as a parent, make you in a way heal this trauma you suffered, can eventually make your child so insecure with himself and his self-worth that they cheat on the person they love the most in the world.
I made it home, 7 years of tour, chasing manhood, but Whitney's gone.
The damage is already done, and it's like a curse. It all seems uncontrollable, with Kendrick by himself, about to lose the person he cares about the most. There might not be a way to save what's been lost, but there could be a way to prevent what could be. The children, if anything can still be saved, it's them, right? If the trauma trickled down uncontrollably, generation after generation, there might be a way to stop it while you're aware of it. If there could be a way to stop the bleed, maybe he can save his kids before it happens to them.
Track of conversation not being addressed in black families, the devastation haunting.
It's bigger than just Kendrick's family. It affects other black families, and he says it all goes back to slavery.
They raped our mothers, then they raped our sisters, then they made us watch, then made us rape each other. Psychotic.
That fear trickled down through time. It didn't go away. They made them turn this evil against themselves.
I know the secrets. Every other rapper sexually abused. I see them daily.
It goes even further than just a story. There are studies showing this. Too often, the idea of young black boys as sexually aggressive or criminally assaultive displaces the idea they can be victims at all. Findings indicate that black males are uniquely at risk for sexual impropriety and statutory rape. This is not talked about.
Whenever his uncle had to walk him from school, his anger grows deep in misogyny.
And in most of these incidents, the abuser is more likely to be a family member than a stranger. These abusers don't even go away. It's a cycle of intergenerational violence. Kendrick said before he'd not hesitate to kill the abuser of his mother if he could. This guilt he built up inside him, it's only understandable. All these abusers should pay, but here Kendrick does not do that.
So I set free myself from all the guilt that I thought I made.
Forgive everyone.
So I set free my mother, all the hurt that she titled shame.
His mother, his cousin.
So I set free my cousin, chaotic, for my mother's pain.
He's letting it go. The hate, the trauma, but most importantly, all the abusers, all the perpetrators of this hate, this pain. Why? Hurt people. Killing this abuser would only help propagate even more violence in the family. Kendrick does the unthinkable, but it's all to make sure that his children will never go through what he went through.
As I set free all your abusers, this is transformation.
This album, bro. Like, bro, we not finna, bro. like, come on, bro. Kendrick, why you? Like, what that nigga say? My first one, like my last one. This is a classic. You don't have one.
You did it.
But he doesn't have to go through this alone anymore.
You broke a generational curse.
After all the bad things he's done, he still broke this curse. Found peace, and perhaps helped others by doing so.
Before I go.
The song ends with a familiar melody, but this time it's about acceptance.
Before I go and fast asleep, love me.
Kendrick accepting himself for who he really is behind the mirror and hoping that you accept him with everything he just said.